And we're back. Diane Diamond, Dennis Neal here, and back with our panel. We've been talking with Ira Mehlman and C. Edmund Wright on various issues. And I think we're going to go to the VA. Diane, why don't you start us off?
You know, I'm glad you started with the VA because that was dominating the news until the prisoner swap, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the Veterans Administration is still a bloody mess. The hospitals don't have enough doctors. When the vets do finally get an appointment, they get in there and they see a nurse practitioner instead. C. Edmund, what do you think? Are they ever going to get their hands around that problem? It is as big as the immigration problem we were just talking about.
You mentioned the hospitals don't have enough doctors, and you're absolutely right. Guess what? There's 300,000 employees for the Veterans Administration. 295,000 of them are bureaucrats and 5,000 are doctors. Tell me, Diane, how could that possibly work? But you know, even in the bigger picture, this is why Obamacare is not going to work. This is actually why big government
Bingo.
Work.
Wait, see, Edmund, are those figures real, that of the 300,000 employees in the Veterans Administration, that 290,000 are administrative and only 5,000 are doctors? Did you just make those up, sir?
No, well, I read the 5,000 doctors this morning. Maybe there's a few nurses and other people in there, but the vast majority of the rest would be so bureaucratic. But according to National Review,
Yes,
this morning, 5,100, I believe, is the number of doctors. 300,000 is the number of total staff.
That is a travesty. That is an unbelievable travesty. So, Ira Mehlman, jump in here on this topic. You have the administration with Bergdahl's parents in the Rose Garden saying, hey, look what we do. No person left behind, no soldier left on foreign soil, yet we're leaving our soldiers waiting in waiting rooms and dying at home.
Well, yeah, and I think also what you're seeing here is another example of how the administration will cook the books, manipulate statistics to reach the conclusion that they want. We've seen it in immigration, where they have inflated the number of people that they're deporting from the United States. We're now hearing evidence that people working for the VA were forced by their superiors to lie about how long veterans were waiting for care. They were saying they were being treated within 2 weeks, when in fact it was more like 2 to 3 months before they could get to see one of the 5,000 doctors that the VA employs. So, it is getting harder and harder to believe anything that is coming out of this administration, whether it is about the VA, whether it's about the Sergeant Bergdahl, or whether it's about immigration. And I think Congress needs to step up. Congress has been sitting there, they'll hold the occasional hearing and get themselves on television, but they really haven't done anything to hold this administration accountable. And I think it's time that Congress hold them accountable on all these issues.
And can I add to that list you had, they don't think tells us the truth about the IRS scandal, about Fast and Furious, about Benghazi. Shall I keep going?
Yeah.
How about jobs, Diane? The segment before ours, you were talking about the economy. 93 million people, adults, not working now. The labor participation rate has been cooked to where the unemployment rate now is meaningless as far as U3 goes with the public figures.
Yeah, and so what is, see, Edmund, what is the American voter supposed to think or do? Where do they go to get good information? Now, how come I think you're going to say Breitbart.com? But I mean, really, I worry about this because it's not just this administration pulling the wool over people's eyes. It is the denigration of the office of the presidency of the United States, isn't it?
Oh, yes, and really more than that. I mean, I think that, and I've written about the labor statistics for about 3 years, just in exactly that, Diane, that what we have now as a government, we can't believe on any topic, because they cook the books on everything to an incredible degree. And again, they're not the first administration to do it, but it's kind of like the immigration issue. They took a bad situation and they made it a lot worse. But you're right, I don't trust any government statistics, anything anymore.
Ira, it seems that every time some big scandal like this breaks out, and there have been so many in the first year and a half of the second Obama term, we get our really upset and our knickers in a twist, and then we just move on. Do you think we'll just move on from this one? Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Actually, we're gonna have to say goodbye to you guys right now. Thanks very much. We appreciate your comments and your time. We're gonna be right back, though. guys. We're going to have author and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. But first, today's America's Moment takes a look at the death of Osama bin Laden.
In the early morning hours of May 2nd, 2011, the Central Intelligence Agency launched Operation Neptune Spear and set into motion a mission to bring one of the world's most notorious terrorists to justice. All indications were that Osama bin Laden was asleep as the U.S. Naval Special Warfare Development Group, known as SEAL Team 6, approached his highly secured three-story Pakistani-based compound. From entry to exit took approximately 45 minutes, with the bulk of time being used to gather up a plethora of al-Qaeda intelligence materials. When located in his living quarters on the third floor of his compound, the head of the Islamist group al-Qaeda was found using his young wife as a shield. The Obama administration reported the 54-year-old terrorist was given a traditional Islamic burial at sea. 9 years, 7 months, and 21 days following his infamous attack on New York's Twin Towers, killing thousands of innocent civilians, its mastermind, Osama bin Laden, was dead. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.